Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode. Today, if you don't mind, I'd kind of like to reminisce a little bit about a game that came out now 13 years ago, but it also came out last month in middle of March. The reason why I'm going to reminisce about this game a little bit is because of a channel called Happy Console Gamer, Johnny Millenium and Rob Man, two of my favorite YouTube personalities. I listen to them all the time on the All Gen Gamers podcast. They are very dearly missed. Anyway, I digress. They recently made a video about Final Fantasy VII, the hype about Final Fantasy VII, and Johnny Millenium also made a video about Final Fantasy VI, taking a look at both of those games. And you know, it made me think about a game that probably has been the biggest game of my life as far as Final Fantasy and RPG games go, other than Pokemon. It is Final Fantasy X.
There have been other worlds before. Mythical, exotic, timeless. Final Fantasy the games. Interactive worlds that have captivated millions, taking you to the limits of your imagination. And now, the phenomenon continues with Final Fantasy X. A young adventurer named Tidus, beginning an epic journey. And Yuna, training in the ancient art of summoning. Join them as they struggle to save their world from a vast evil known only as sin. Young heroes, their courage, their passion. Enter the battle. Experience the danger. Their world is your world. Become the adventure. Final Fantasy X. Available only on PlayStation 2. Coming spring 2002.
And of course, this is the Vita version, Final Fantasy X and X2 HD remaster. I actually bought a Vita for this a couple months back, and trust me, it is well worth the purchase. But anyway, let's go back to the older game. So a little over a year ago, I made a video called What's Your Favorite Final Fantasy? And if you watched that, if you remember, I briefly touched on Final Fantasy X a little bit, although I may look a little younger because I don't have quite the bushy beard I do now, but that's besides the point. Back around the time when the PS2 came out, it was probably, one of the most hyped consoles of all time because it was, the second coming of the PlayStation, and it played DVDs. DVDs were a really huge thing back then, and that's why the PlayStation 2 is, the highest selling console of all time, if not one of the most highest selling consoles of all time. I don't really have my facts in front of me at this moment in time, but I remember seeing commercials about Final Fantasy X, particularly the one after a boss battle. If you guys have played the game. Oh, by the way, there's going to be a little bit of spoilers in this game, so if you haven't played Final Fantasy X yet, don't watch this video. Well, watch it or don't watch it. But anyway, after a boss battle, when you first get the ship from the Albed place called Home, you'll fight a boss called Evray. It's like the guardian of the Bavel area where Seymour and Yuna are about to get married. So after you fight that, your ship crash lands into Bavel, and your whole party is all grinding down these things, these anchors, if you will, almost like Sonic Adventure 2. And I remember seeing that commercial back in the day, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And back in the day, seeing this, I was in 3rd grade at the time. I wasn't even 10 years old yet. I didn't get my hands on the game until a few years after, and I just remember putting the game in for the first time, seeing the cutscene where it's the Blitzball tournament, and then Sin comes and destroys Xanarkand and Auron and Titus or whatever you named your character. They're all animated CG, probably the most mind-blowing graphics of the time. Another really cool thing about Final Fantasy X was the fact that it was the first Final Fantasy game to feature voice acting. Now, to me, this was a pretty big deal, and to others, some people, you know, the voice acting is hit or miss, but this is the reason why I probably think it's my favorite Final Fantasy. The reason being because I can connect with the characters, not only because I can see them, but because I can hear them as well. And seeing may be believing, but hearing could also be connecting as well, if you will. The story in this game is really cool. Basically, to sum it up, you are playing as the main character called Tidus, and you live in a city called Xanarkand, and you're sucked away by this giant being called Sin, and Sin transports you to 1,000 years in the future, and there's this era of, it's called the Calm, and what happens with the Calm is when you defeat Sin, there's like a few years of peace, but every now and then there's a person called a summoner who will go out with their guardians and try and defeat Sin and bring back another Calm. And basically that's what you're doing throughout your journey, or pilgrimage as it's referred to in the game. Really, I implore you to check out the story in this game. Really deep story, and you'll really get connected in a matter of hours. The other interesting thing about this game is you don't necessarily level up as you have in other Final Fantasies. Instead, there is something implemented in this game called the Sphere Grid, and basically what you do is, you fight enemies and they drop things like mana spheres, HP spheres, ability spheres, and basically you go throughout this grid type area and you can drop spheres in and, boost your character's abilities, such as, if you want to teach Lulu some magic, you can drop some ability spheres in the fire magic, thunder magic, so on and so forth. And pretty much that's how you leveled your characters up. Years ago, when I played through this game, I actually never beat this game, by the way. I'm working through it now. I'm about 19 or 20 hours through the HD remaster so far. I think I have a better grasp on the game nowadays because I'm just, going through, fighting as many battles as I can, and really expanding upon the Sphere Grid, because back in the day I probably just rushed through the game and I didn't really care as much because I kept dying on boss battles. The cool thing is that you can use the Sphere Grid to your advantage and really kind of boost your characters up. What I normally do is fight a few battles, wait till I get my sphere level to about 8 or 10, and then go through and then level everybody up. I think that's the best kind of strategy you can use to approach this game. As mentioned before, Final Fantasy X HD also comes with a copy of 10.2. Now, I do have some fond memories of this game. I remember being really hyped for this game to come out. I think it came out in like 2004 or 2005 or something. Probably a lot of people see it as a cheesy spin-off, but me personally, I really liked it. I got really far in this game, like so far I was at the very end, and I remember I went to the dentist when I was younger. I'm not sure how it's relevant. Maybe I was still kind of hyped up on the Novocaine, I guess. Who knows? And I came home and I wanted to see the intro sequence again because I loved the beauty of the animated CG. I went home, saw the CG cutscene, played like the first hour of the game, and saved over my existing data, which was like 20 hours. So I've never really gone through the game again. So after I beat Final Fantasy X for the first time, I'm going to go back through Final Fantasy X-2. Another really cool thing about this game, really quickly, is this is the international version, not previously seen in America, meaning it has a thing called Eternal Calm, which I guess they got all of the American voice actors to come back and revise their roles for, I believe it's like a 30-minute cutscene, kind of bridging the gap between Final Fantasy X and X-2. So there you have it, guys, Final Fantasy X, memories, just wanted to kind of talk about it for a little bit. Thanks to Happy Console Gamer, Johnny Millenium, and Rob, man, for inspiring me to talk about a game that I really love in an RPG kind of vein. They always talk about RPG games, they're big RPG fans, and I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out my other videos. Just recently posted a video about the Vectrex. See what you like, poke around my channel, and check out Happy Console Gamer as well. Again, thanks to them for inspiring me to do this video. So speaking of videos, I will see you again on the next one.